Hi, everybody. My name is Odele. I'm a lawyer who's qualified in Nigeria and in the US. I'm a corporate lawyer and I run a law firm called Vazi Legal. And then I also run a social enterprise called Scale My Hustle that provides services to entrepreneurs. Now, in all of this, right, at least professionally, I'm not a professional human rights lawyer, but I wanted to give some context on what has been happening in Nigeria and how I and some other lawyers have played a part. So sometime around October, early October, right, there was a video that went around of police officers allegedly killing someone. So it was an extrajudicial killing, allegedly, right? And over time, there's a particular unit of the Nigerian police force that is called the SARS unit. So SARS itself was set up as a special anti-robbery squad. So it was basically supposed to focus on, on policing basically as regards to robberies, right? And over time, it kind of like morphed into this entity that basically started to harass people. Now, a lot of what has happened around SARS and how they got so powerful is because they had this very wide mandate, and because of that, it was possible to stop and frisk people on the road. Sometimes detain people without any, without go and search people without any warrant, detain people for no offense known to law. All of those things were happening, and then this unit just became this unit that just started antagonizing people. People began to get really worried about it. People began to get really frustrated about it, and there were tons and tons of claims of police brutality against this particular unit of the police. I mean, generally against police in Nigeria, but particularly against this particular unit that looked like they had the protection of the powers that be. So people were just frustrated, right? So sometime in October, early October, just like I'd mentioned, a video went around of an alleged extrajudicial killing by this unit somewhere in eastern Nigeria. And when that happened, it sparked national outrage, obviously. Over the time, people there have been different movements calling for the end of this unit. So End SARS is a hashtag that has been used for maybe 4 years now. And I mean, at the point where that video came on, it sparked this national outrage and people were just really, really upset about it. It was smack down, right in the middle of lockdown. And everybody thought, what, we need to do something about this. So the protest started in different parts of the country, peaceful protests, right? All the protests were peaceful. People went out with placards just asking for the government to end this unit. And that was how, this thing started from pockets and then just became this national-wide peaceful protest. Now, as soon as the protest started, what began to happen almost immediately was a crackdown by the police. And this is something that we see normally, right? Like, this is not something that is strange. So what immediately, people started protesting peacefully. We had a situation where police just started arresting people. Now I'm on my phone, like just following the protest. In fact, during this time, I was actually, I had COVID at the time. So I was in my isolation ward, literally. I hadn't gone out in a few days by this time. So I was just there, just kind of like following the news online. And then I was like, oh, you know what? This is wrong, because the moment people get arrested, it becomes really tricky for certain reasons in Nigeria. One of those reasons is the fact that we do not have a central booking system. So what that means is every time someone is arrested in the country, in any part of Nigeria, right, you'll be hard pressed to find like a computer in any police station. So once somebody is arrested, what happens is manually, the police have to write this person was arrested and all of that for XYZ offense and XYZ date. So they, manually record it. In some police stations, they have like a board where they put it in chalk, and when the person has been granted either administrative bail or bail by the court, they kind of like just erase it. So that's how manual it is. So the fear for us was, if people start getting arrested, maybe some rogue police officers might begin to use this avenue as some sort of like retaliation for the protest. I recognize the fact that it's not the entire police force that is bad, right? Like, but a few bad eggs are even too much. So, so that was the fear for us. And what happened was, immediately, I just started, a lot of people know I'm a lawyer online, so I'm very kind of like visible as a startup lawyer anyways, but you know how it is. Once you're a lawyer in Africa, you're a lawyer for everything. So, people start tagging me on that different post, and they're like, oh, Mo, this person has been arrested. We're here together. What can we do? What can we do? And I mean, this is Mo who's in isolation. I couldn't go to like 20 police stations at the same time. So what I discovered was, like, you know what? I have a wide network of lawyers who are in different parts of the country. So I started like manually just like texting them and say, okay, an arrest has happened in this place. Do you think you can go there and help out? And that's how, this thing just started, and it was NSAS Legal Aid. And then for me, it was really organic, because the moment everything happened on Twitter, literally. So as soon as the requests started becoming too many, I ended up putting together like a Google spreadsheets. So just basically Google form, just asking people to just put their name, their location, and their phone numbers. And then we had the team who started like matching lawyers to arrested protesters. And at some point we realized that we could deploy a lawyer to a police station within 20 minutes of arrest, all over the country, which for me, I mean, for most parts of the country, which for me was a very, very big deal. And then we had a helpline a couple of days after. And then, people would call the helpline to say this person has been arrested. We match them with a lawyer goes to the police station and tries to get them administrative bail and just kind of see how they can help. So one of the things that really stood out for me in this entire thing, and how, because legal has become a big part of how the protest evolved. Even as I speak to you today, we still have a couple of people in custody. Even if people have left the streets 3 weeks ago now, three or 4 weeks ago now, but we still have people who are still in custody in relation to the protest, to the peaceful protest. And legal has been really active. We've grown from a team of just me and one other person. His name is Tola, kind of like just working on this, to like 7 people, really just helping us to manage that process. And then we have a team, we have volunteer lawyers. We have over 1,000 volunteer lawyers across Nigeria, really just on standby. And so far, we've been able to work on the release of over 300 people. So I want to say about 350, which represents about 95% of the people who were reported to us as being arrested. So not too bad. Even if I believe that 5% still being in custody is still, bad enough. So what I wanted to just point out here is that there are different things that I've seen happen and how lawyers can help. We need to also really move away from putting form over impact, because at this point, when we created the NSAS Legal Aid, we didn't have an NGO or anything like that. But for us, it was really critical for us to just get things done immediately. And everything we did was remotely, everything was online. So I would say the tools that we used was just a Google form. We had a helpline, and then and that was it, literally. And everything was just done over WhatsApp and Twitter, and that was it. So I think that, but there was also a lot of sensitization that was going on at the same time, because a lot of people were unaware about basic things like, okay, can I actually go out to protest, right? Like, if I go out to protest, am I breaking any laws? When I get to the police station, what should happen when I'm arrested? So what I just wanted to really point out, though, is that as a lawyer who is really operating in digital age, you need to be aware of the fact that a lot of things would have to take the form of impact over structure, kind of like really just focusing on what you're trying to achieve, of course, within the ambits of the law as well. But we really need to move away from the fact that, oh, this is the only way this can be done because this is the way it has been done previously. I think this was the first time that we had this scale of rapid legal aid response in Nigeria. I don't think it has ever happened before, but that didn't stop us from, kind of like evolving how we had delivered this sort of legal aid. We also, one of the things that again was very important is also sensitization. So I think that lawyers, especially in this digital age, people are going to look up to you to know what their rights are, and what they can expect from the people who are in charge of governance. And I think that lawyers really played a pivotal role. So for us, while we were providing legal aid, it was also critical for us to make sure that people understood that going out to protest is a peaceful protest, is a constitutional right. When you get to the police station, you're supposed to be allowed to call someone. You should not be kept in a police station for more than 48 hours without being taken to the nearest court. Those kind of things where people began to understand. And then once people get arrested, they'll come to us and say, see, I got arrested, this is what happened, or my sibling or my friend got arrested, and we know that they didn't do anything wrong. So that also helped the movement because people were a lot more aware. And I also think that in terms of like cooperation, it's also very vital. And then pro bono as well, right? Like as a lawyer in digital age, we want to make money, but pro bono has to really be a part of justice, because a lot of people who are denied justice are people who ideally do not even have access to justice, or who cannot pay for lawyering services. So we want to make sure that pro bono is really a big part of our practices, just because as they say, we're the custodians of the law. So really, those are the key points I wanted to make. And for me, it's been a very rewarding experience. It's also been a teachable moment for me, really, because just like I'd mentioned, I coming from a legal background, for me, everything had to be properly done to the, by the book. And when I mean by the book, I mean that, structure, this is particular structure you must take. If you want to provide legal aid, you need to have an NGO, you need to have a board of directors, you need to have this, and you need to have that. And all of those things are very important. But if we want to be able to remain relevant and also be able to adapt to the kind of legal challenges that we are facing today, then we know that we need to be much more flexible. So again, this is a pleasure. I would round up now because I think I'm running out of time. My name is Odele, and I'm happy to connect with you, whatever platform, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever it is. I would like to hear from you. So thank you.